Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to World of Wrestling, and here today we have a special guest for a one-on-one conversation with Vince McMahon. He wants to go ahead and clear the air with all of us smart marks with professional wrestling. Well, World of Wrestling, I have one thing to say. We don't call WWE pro wrestling. What do you call WWE? What does WWE really stand for, Vince? It actually stands for World Wrestling Entertainment. Okay, so you just said the company is World Wrestling Entertainment. That's what WWE stands for, which actually the wrestling is supposed to entertain the audience. Is that correct? Well, we don't like to use the word wrestling because we're not really a wrestling-based company. We're an entertainment company. I understand your sports entertainment, but what your sport is wrestling. If you look at the ring, Vince, you're the owner of this fucking company. You are going ahead and you got a ring with 3 ropes on each side of the square circle. What are they doing? They're doing wrestling holds. That's correct. They are doing wrestling holds. And I can't believe I'm educating you, Vince McMahon, who's older than me. You're almost 80, and yet I'm telling you exactly what pro wrestling is and what your company is supposed to be about. You know something, I find this rather insulting. Why do you find this insulting, Vince? I'm just telling you the facts. Well, the facts is, this is an entertainment company. We're not here for pro wrestling. We're here to entertain you. Well, I understand that, and if you would entertain me with what you're doing in the ring, which is actually pro wrestling, I'd actually find it entertaining. Well, I thought this was a Q&A thing. What are you bringing me on here to go ahead and shit all over what I built? Okay, you want me to ask you questions. All right, Vince, I'll ask you questions. Why has NXT turned into a laughingstock? Wow, no answer. I got an answer for you. I'll tell you what the answer is. NXT is a developmental company, developmental brand. It's supposed to help build superstars up and put them on the main roster to make them more important. So they're developed into a star in the image I deem it to be the proper way to go. Okay, so what you're telling me is you were actually in competition with Triple H, your son-in-law. You gave him a job to do, and he was doing it. He actually was entertaining a lot of people and doing a lot of what AEW does now. Why is it that you deemed the idea as a terrible idea, and yet you changed it to your own liking? Well, if you really look at it, it's the ratings, and I think that was a very important factor in Triple H's continued image of the NXT. All right, well, I got to admit, AEW was kicking the fucking shit out of NXT most of the time, so I'll give you that. But why would you put them up against AEW? Didn't you figure fans were going to take them more seriously than NXT? Simply because they are not the main roster. They are beneath the main roster, technically. And they're not utilized the same way they would have been on NXT. Now, granted, they would have been utilized correctly the way they were on NXT. People would have kept tuning in for NXT. Would you agree? I disagree on that because NXT and WWE are 2 different things. One's developmental, the other is main rosterish. We develop stars and make them into main eventers, and they appear on WrestleMania. Okay. Well, I have to say, probably the main problem with your show for NXT was people weren't tuning in because they expected them to get destroyed. If you don't believe me, why don't you ask Adam Cole, baby, for why he left? Well, the real reason why he left is because he refused to work with us on the main roster the way we deemed fit for him. And what was that? He belonged as a manager. He was a lot better as a manager. He had a very good speaking voice. He had the skills on the stick, and he knew how to talk properly on the microphone. So we wanted to make him as a manager. All right, well, okay, you wanted to make him a manager. Why did you want to get rid of his name? Well, we already have a Michael Cole. Why were we going to have an Adam Cole as well? It's a little confusing. You're going to get confused between Michael Cole, who's an announcer, and a manager / wrestler as Adam Cole. One has long hair, the other one has short hair, and talks on a microphone on a consistent basis to the audience at home watching the show. Okay, the more I talk to you, Vince, the more dumb I get. Now, moving on to other things, what was the reason of getting rid of Bray Wyatt? Well, wasn't he your number one seller in fucking merchandise? Yeah, actually he was. And what caused you guys to want to get rid of him? Well, it's real simple, World of Wrestling, you fucking pencil neck geek. The reason why we got rid of Bray Wyatt is because he was doing some things backstage that was unprofessional. Well, if you really think about it, there's a real reason why he was unprofessional. He thought you guys were fucking assholes. So, what was the real cause, Vince? You were afraid he was going to get too big for his britches and then decide to leave your ass stranded high and dry so he can go off and make more money because he didn't want to break his back for the rest of his life? Is it because you're a fucking dumbass and you absolutely don't care about your talent or your fans or anything else? Well, folks, apparently Vince McMahon has left the building, literally, but not, walking out of the building kind of blew his brains out. His brains are, all over the wall. Kind of like how the board meetings are when they try to throw shit against the wall and hope it sticks. Apparently his brain matter stuck against the wall. It was a good plan for him. Blowing his brains out was the best decision he ever made in his life. Anyway, at this time, guys, you know what to do. Hit the like button if you liked the video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel, of course. And leave a comment down below. I'll definitely get back to you on that. And I thank you guys very much for tuning in to this parody interview between myself and Vincent Kennedy McMahon. May he ever try to produce a good show. I think I would die of shock. Have a good night, guys, and I'll speak to you again soon for AEW Dynamite.